2, 1. What do you think the mascot of GamingStooges is?
It's Trader, obviously.
Traitor.
True.
That's although once Trader passes eventually, I mean he's an old man. It's coming. It'll be Cheese Whiz.
You
I
could say
think Traitor's
cheese
going
with...
to outlive. I think Traitor's going to outlive Gaming Stooges. Let's be real.
Welcome to today's podcast where we got a double feature. It wasn't originally gonna be one, but here we are. Our first topic, though, today is we're going to talk about mascot characters. That won the poll. And mascot characters are pretty popular. Nothing new. We know a lot about them. We love a number of them. They've evolved over time with the companies that utilize them, as well as the gaming hardware that they helped catapult into success. So, speaking of that note, I think we should really start our discussion right there, where mascot characters really had an explosion of just a lot of mascot characters, and that would be in the early to mid '90s. You got the mascot platformer wars in the 16-bit era. Now, there's been a lot of stuff before that, but I think this is really where like the core of our discussion can really begin, because Jesus Christ, how many mascot platformers were there during the 16-bit era?
3.
There was more than 3.
I'm going with 3.
I mean, you've got stuff like, obviously you've got Mario, who represented Nintendo. You had Sonic. Then you had Bubsy with
And
Acclaim.
that's it.
That's
That's
it.
it.
Just those 3.
Bubsy.
You know, let's not even talk about, Gex or like any of the other, or Bonk. No Bonk. Don't want to talk about Bonk.
Not the core 3 pillar. No.
I love how Bubsy's been allowed to get into the core 3.
Yeah,
But
when we talk about the core 3 mascots of all time, we're talking Mario, Sonic,
Bubsy.
and Bubsy, of course. So, I assume this is probably where you guys have started your experience with getting exposed to this sort of phenomenon with like mascot platformers, mascot characters as a whole. Like, obviously, there's stuff that comes before, but like this is probably where, at least for me, I don't know about you guys, where like I can trace a lot of stuff back to.
I would say it's the easiest era to go back to. I mean, prior to this, what Mario was your flagship for the NES.
Don't forget, E.T. was the famed mascot of Atari.
Oh,
True.
I'm sorry.
The Pong paddle, actually, I think was, if we're
Pretty
being
good
realistic, the Pong paddle.
The Pong paddle is the most iconic mascot of all time. How
I
could
mean,
we
when I see a
forget?
Pong paddle, that's what I think of. I think of disappointment and failure. So yeah,
Okay.
Atari.
So, what do you think of when you see a Tetronimo? Oh my God.
Does that mean the mascot of the Game Boy is a Tetris block?
Yes, that's what I'm trying to get at. I don't remember how
I
you
would say
pronounce the
yes.
name of the thing, but that's what I was trying to get at.
Tetris
Tetramino.
block. Tetramino. I think that's
Tetramino.
what it is.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean,
Hi, where are we?
Jack, you're a big
Yeah.
fan of platformers. More so,
Yeah.
I mean, we all like platformers, but I feel like you are the platformer guy out of the 3 of us. So, what would you say is like some of your earliest experiences with these mascot platformers?
Sonic
Just
as a
Sonic?
child. Yeah.
I mean,
It all goes back to Sonic.
I guess it's probably just about the same for me. Like, I've played a lot of platformers, but I wouldn't say a lot of them were like the uh the mascot platformers of the time. I I'm sorry, I have a second cat that likes to go in and out, and he is mad because he cannot get out. Uh, but I definitely played less of the actual Mascot platformers than just platformers in general. Like I didn't get to play the Bubsies of the world. I didn't get to play like I mean, I don't know if this is really a Mascot, but it is like an iconic platformer that you'd think of in like the same vein as like the 16-bit the Tasmanian Tiger games. Did never played any of those. I never played Rayman. I know like this. I know this sounds blasphemous. Never played a Rayman game before in my life. Which
Jack, what are your thoughts?
I mean, that's fine.
But
I like Rayman. I'm not like. Listen, the two Rayman games that I really, really love are Origins and Legends. The other ones are all like, they're good, but I'm not like in love with any of them.
Yeah, but he hasn't played either of those. Also,
I mean, I knew that already.
yeah, but you should
you're like, this is not new
be
information.
mad at him.
Yeah, for the
You should be mad
podcast
at him.
bit, you're supposed to be mad at me. You're supposed to be like,
How dare you?
Thank you.
God
Thank
fucking
you.
damn you, Cloud.
Jesus. I can't believe I had to fucking force that out of you.
I did play one Gex game. I have said this before though.
That's amazing.
It wasn't even like one of the console ones either. It was the Game Boy Color port of one of them.
He
Damn,
fucking
that-
played a Gex game before he played Rayman Legends.
Does Gex even have jokes in that one?
No, there's like
What's
no.
the point?
There's the like the
What is
story.
the point?
I was gonna say the story's been largely stripped out of the Game Boy port of Gex 3.
That's
Like there's
not Gex 3.
Yeah.
You're just playing Lizard.
Blizzard.
Listen, it's not Gex if he doesn't say jokes.
True.
Yeah.
You're right. But speaking of Gex, that actually is closer to like the part of like Mascot platformers that I'm really well acquainted with, which is the early 3D era. So that'd be the late 90s when we saw 3D platformers and 3D games come to fruition. That was when a lot more of like they were still doing Mascot characters and they got even more popular there. I mean, you had stuff like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon. They were like dual mascots for Sony. Sony also had like a few other. Sony is kind of weird about this. So like with Nintendo, you have like very defined mascots. You've got Mario, you have Donkey Kong, you have Link as like kind of one of the the big mascots, and then you get to Sony.
Kirby.
You have Kirby, like very defined mascots, and they're based on like different sectors of what they focus on with their games. Like Kirby at the time was their portable division, stuff like that. But like with Sony, they just kind of like took any character that was like popular for them, and they were just like, go get them. So you had
Make 3 games.
yeah.
Thanks.
So you had Solid Snake became kind of a mascot when Metal Gear Solid came out. You had Crash Spyro. I forgot to mention this, but another really big mascot obviously was Mega Man for Capcom, which is Capcom's interesting as well. Kind of want to talk about Sony and Capcom together because they are the kind of company where, unlike your Sega or your Nintendo, those companies, they have like defined mascots that just kind of consistently carry throughout their existence. You always know that they're like a big mascot of Nintendo based on wherever they came from. But like with Sony or Capcom and stuff like that, they have their mascots, but they can kind of shift based on whatever is really like going well for them at the time. With Sony, it started out with Crash, Spyro, but later on you would see Ratchet and Clank, who have remained mascots for Sony for pretty much since they came out, but they've gone on and off of when they were like prominent. You'd have Kratos, you'd have Nathan Drake became a mascot where like he was a big they were his like kind of like the, I want to think of like another term besides mascot character, but the character that they really put front and center to like be the face of the company at times.
Prevalent IP man.
Basically, prevalent IP man. There you go.
Yeah, that's it. Or woman.
Or woman. Sometimes it is woman. I mean,
or non-binary option.
I mean, for
That's Crash Bandicoot.
Way Forward has kind of turned Shantae into their own mascot, so like that's.
I mean, Shantae is the Way Forward character.
I was gonna say Shantae has always been like Shantae is the series that Way Forward wanted to make and funded by making everything else they did.
True.
Yeah, until they started making like the Mighty games as well. Like they've been able to dabble in more of their own original IPs, but Shantae was like their first and their continued biggest.
Yeah,
for sure.
But yeah, and then with Capcom, you have stuff like, Mega Man is supposed to be their main mascot, but you've also got stuff like Ryu from Street Fighter. He's often like kind of just in and out as a major character. They sometimes even like prominently use Phoenix Wright and other, like just based on their various series, they'll take like iconic character and they'll just kind of like put them as like a forward face for the company. I think it's kind of interesting. I do have to ask though, when it comes to this era of like the late 90s until like the early 2000s where like this shift happened, this is definitely where we could actually remember games that we played a lot more often. Which of those mascot characters from these various companies kind of clicked with you the most? Jack?
Are you asking me first? Okay.
I mean, you are usually first, Jack. You're always first.
Well, like I don't know. Someone else can chime in if they want. I don't have to be the first person to speak.
All right, fine.
I gotta keep you on your
I'll
toes.
go first.
All right, Landon, you go first.
Sly Cooper and his Thievius Raccoonus.
Sly Cooper is
there
a
you
good
go.
one.
Yeah, except he was never. Definitely, Ratchet was. I feel like the more popular.
Yeah,
and then
they used
you had
Ratchet, Jack,
and you had Sly Cooper. I mean, it was like the three pillars, sort of like your more whimsical. I'm using whimsical because you wouldn't call Kratos whimsical.
No. Oh, yeah. You don't think Kratos has whimsy?
No, especially not a PS2 era.
Would you call Shadow of the Colossus whimsical?
More whimsical than Kratos.
Okay, fair.
Well,
debatably.
But I mean, Shadow of the Colossus also isn't like a mask. Like, doesn't have like really a mascot
it's just
character.
Like, I'm just imagining like the giants from Shadow of the Colossus or the Colossi themselves.
It's like
as like the mascot.
The Titans from Attack on Titan are the mascot.
Yeah, that's what I go to see.
True.
But I mean, Sly Cooper definitely was. I feel like the biggest of the PS2 era. But like, I don't know. That was the one that I got into for that era of character. And I guess if we're going with other companies, Pikmin was like for GameCube, because Pikmin has become like Nintendo has gone like, and here's Pikmin, and it's like prominent in their a lot of their marketing.
I was gonna say, I do remember like that was like a big push they made during the GameCube era. Like the GameCube, obviously they didn't have as much prominence as the PS2, but like when they were pushing it, I vividly remember like Pikmin was like their big deal. And I mean, you kind of have to expect that because it was like, that wasn't that a Miyamoto?
It's a Miyamoto.
Yeah, so like he wanted it, so like they had to do it. They had to like, and I mean it paid off in a way. It was never as successful.
They're also pretty marketable.
Yeah.
Like that is a key factor, is usually you have to have something that stands out and is marketable and recognizable. And like Pikmin are fucking like, yeah. You can see that and you're like, oh yeah. So, and it's cute when they use them for their like little transfer and they carry the fucking shit around when you're doing a system transfer. So when you can do that and like it's an Easter egg for fucking that, then yeah,
it's a good choice.
It's gonna be yeah, it'll be something that becomes iconic during that period of time. Those were like the two that I would say are like the standouts for me
Okay.
that developed during that time.
Jack,
Did you wanna go, Cloud?
you really don't want to go, do you?
I'll go. I'll go if you want. It just sounded like you wanted to go.
Uh, yeah, because I actually was thinking about a lot of this was the period, so like this like late 90s, early 2000s. I was definitely exposed to a lot of different mascot characters vis-a-vis their games. Like Pac-Man, obviously a big one. I wasn't actually really a Mega Man guy until a lot later. So like as far as like earlier mascots are concerned, like Pac-Man is probably like the earliest one, and Mario, of course. But you know, you obviously have stuff like Pikachu from Pokemon. That's like the fucking Mickey Mouse of video games, and the Mickey Mouse just now, I guess. Uh,
No, I
obviously,
think Hello Kitty is the hello like what's
no,
the
yeah,
sales on
no,
Sanrio?
not
I'm gonna
as much
check
as
it.
Pokemon, but it is extremely high. Like
It is. It's like one of the top
their merchandise
three
is,
grossing.
oh yeah, it's their merchandise is fucking insane. Like Hello Kitty is just like everywhere, and to a point where there are characters from Hello Kitty that I did not know were Sanrio characters. Like I did not know that they were actually a thing, and I was like, oh, I recognize that character. That's a Sanrio character. Like there's that
Hello
much.
Kitty is at, according to Wikipedia, $32.8 billion.
It's a lot.
That's crazy.
And like most of it's merch, right? Like the vast
I mean,
majority of it's
yeah,
merch.
yeah, vast majority of it is merchandise sales. It's yeah, um, yeah. I mean, obviously, Pokemon is the highest grossing media franchise of all time.
Yeah, of all time.
And I mean, Mickey Mouse and Friends is at a cool $61.2 billion.
Yeah.
But
And I mean, I was
uh,
exposed to a lot of Disney stuff back in the day. I'm not sure if I'm not sure if I guess I could call myself a Disney kid when I was growing up. I'm certainly not a Disney kid now, but like I definitely was exposed to a lot of Disney stuff and even Disney video games. So like Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck was always like a secondary mascot for Disney, and he always vibed with me a little more, I think.
You weren't like you wouldn't call yourself a Disney kid now, but you do still enjoy a Kingdom Hearts game.
I do just still enjoy a Kingdom Hearts game. The reason I
Can't be
played Kingdom
denied.
Hearts was because of the Disney stuff. I didn't know. Keep in mind, when I played Kingdom Hearts, never touched a Final Fantasy game in my life up to that point. Not once. I played Kingdom Hearts because I thought it was cool that all the Disney stuff was in there. And I was like, oh, I get to have Donald and Goofy on my side. That's cool. And,
Well, oh sorry, keep going if you
no,
want.
I was going to move on from Kingdom Hearts if you had something else to say.
Well, one thing that was big with me when I was a child, which isn't necessarily any one specific mascot, but a collective of mascots, that being Smash Brothers.
Yeah, true.
Because it really is just like, hey, here's every single mascot we have. Watch them beat each other up, and it's fun. So I think like as a child, that was a way that I was exposed to a lot of like franchises and characters that I wasn't aware of. Like I didn't know shit about Fire Emblem when I was a kid, but I knew who Marth and Roy were.
Was there any other games besides Smash Brothers that like had a lot of like mascot characters that early on you played? I mean, I know that when we start talking about like more recent or at least slightly more recent stuff, you've got, Marvel versus Capcom, unless you happen to play Marvel versus Capcom 2 way back in the day. But you have, other games like that where there's just a lot of crossover stuff. I do think that's something that a lot of people tend to get into. When it comes to like being exposed to a lot of mascot quote unquote characters all at once is through those crossover games. Because, I mean, like I said, with Kingdom Hearts, I was exposed to a lot of Final Fantasy all at once. And I also was exposed to some Disney stuff that I hadn't quite touched before. Like I wasn't really a Little Mermaid person, and I, would get exposed to like Ariel. I wasn't really. No, I would say I definitely already was exposed to Jiminy Cricket because I think I played that racing game before. And Jiminy Cricket was weird. Like he was used as like a tertiary mascot that just kind of floated around different Disney properties. Like he wasn't really in one specific thing. Like it was just like, hey, here's a Disney thing. Do we need something to like be in it? The fucking
It's
throw Jiminy Cricket at it. Like there you
it's
go.
like how it's like how Jack Frost is in literally every Atlas game.
Yeah, like
I mean, Jack Frost is
Well, I mean,
the
Frost is literally the mascot of
mascot.
Atlas, but
Yeah.
yeah, but
and
he'll
it's
show up. He shows up in fucking like literally, like in Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Jack Frost is in that shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's interesting where like when a franchise has a mascot that isn't necessarily the main character, because there are many main characters throughout the franchise's history, like Dragon Quest with the slime, which
Right.
is undeniably the mascot of that franchise. And yet, like, it's a level 1 mook that you see at the beginning of every game. But it's like, it's iconic, it's recognizable, it's in every Dragon Quest game.
They do something
It's
similar
the
to that in
easiest thing to make merchandise
yeah.
off of.
They do something
True.
similar to that with Final Fantasy as well. Since you have Moogles and Chocobos, they were introduced not in the first game, in the second game and third game. I think Moogle came in the third and Chocobo in the second. But like they were introduced super early on, and they've basically been used in like everything that they can put Final Fantasy in that will help market it. Like that is like Landon was talking about with the Pikmin and Nintendo for a good long while. Like that was just kind of like a character that they just threw in to like help market stuff, and it just kind of caught on. They were just like little popular, not unique characters, but like a species of character that was easily marketable and pretty iconic. And that's something that uh, it's interesting when companies do that because you have mascots that are like Mario, Sonic, and like those are clearly the main character of their respective franchises. But then you do have stuff like the Pikmin, which are not like, you know, they're not a singular thing, but they are and like the slime from Dragon Quest, but they are still the most iconic thing from that franchise. I think it's kind of interesting how there's like some franchises that do one or the other. I'm trying to think if there's anything else off the top of my head that uh, I know that's like that, but I definitely was more towards the like the unique character mascot aspect of things. So like
Trails uses palms as sort of like that. They show up in pretty much every single Legend of Heroes game, at least from the Trails Kiseki games. They're like they serve a similar role as metal slimes do,
oh
as
okay,
like
yeah.
a hard to
I
find
think I remember
enemy
that.
that is very evasive, that wields a lot of exp. So like they become, because of that, like they are one of the more iconic ones. And then yeah, I would say that, because especially like the Trails games have so many fucking characters at this point
Right.
that, like, I mean, yeah, you have your like Reen's like the poster boy of Trails at this point, but I mean, you have like Estelle and Joshua are super popular characters in it. You also have like Lloyd was one of the main characters as well. So like other main characters, but like Reen's definitely for that. But there's some of the monsters in that tend to like stick out more than others.
Right.
To go back to your question about crossover games, because I didn't actually get to answer that. I would say the two the two things that like brought a lot more IPs to my attention: Tatsunoko versus Capcom, because I didn't play the I have played Marvel versus Capcom, but I would say Tatsunoko one brought all of Tatsunoko to my attention because I hadn't seen any of that shit. Yeah, Al says the creepy sheep. That's one of the enemies that I was thinking of for Trails. They show up in a lot of the Trails games. So Tatsunoko versus Capcom, not just for all the Tatsunoko characters, but there was a decent amount of Capcom stuff that I may have known about, but I hadn't like played a game of. But then Project Cross Zone 1 and 2, because that has a bunch of stuff from Sega, Capcom, and Bandai,
Right.
and so it's like stuff like Tales of Dot Hack,
Xenosaga with Cosmos.
Xenosaga. You've got a lot of fucking weird fucking shit crossed over. So you have like Resident Evil, Street Fighter, Tekken, like all Darkstalkers all mixed together, like trying to pretend like it's a whole like world that makes sense. I mean, fucking Phoenix Wright shows up in it, and there's a plot line where he's trying to defend one of the people from Yakuza, like a dragon, like in it. Like that's how he gets like thrown into Project Cross Zone 2.
That is wild.
Yeah, so there's like it's like that, especially because it's fun because they're like, these are IPs from like all over the place. I mean, even like Project Cross Zone 2 has Crom and Lucina and Fiora.
That's so
like
weird.
In it, and they're like, yeah, this. I mean, it's not. It's like it's more set up like a multiverse than it is like a one world. But it's like these all exist together, and like these people kind of know each other a lot of times.
That does remind me of the Super Robot Wars games are similar, where it's like it's a multiverse and like everybody just kind of exists together, and you'll have iconic characters and like mech units from basically like almost any mecha anime you can think of. So it's kind of a similar boat. Like I couldn't talk nearly as much about Super Robot Wars as Al could. But I think he knows where I'm getting at in the chat, where like it's a similar thing where it's just it's and there is like a big story involved similar to Project Cross Zone. So like it's not just Super Smash Brothers or like your versus Capcom games where they're just kind of thrown in there just to fight. And it's like there's an actual like lore aspect to it. It's crazy.
I wish we would have like more of that sort of stuff where it's like one thing where it's like fucking Fortnite when they just put a skin on a character model versus like an actual story of like characters that are like coming together. So I know Project Cross Zone is not everyone's cup of tea, but like I fucking like just the bonkers idea of like the storylines for that. Like Sakura Wars and fucking Mega Man X being in the same game, and yet it makes sense.
Yeah, I was just checking our Patreon so I know what I'm talking about when we get there.
Are we already there?
No.
Is it already that time of the day?
No. We still have quite a bit to talk about with Mascot characters.
All right, don't check out the Patreon yet, folks.
We've only just scratched the surface. We've only really talked about stuff that's like mostly from like early 2000s and back. Like we can talk about how things changed over time as well. Like we would get a lot more as like we were talking about whimsical mascots at one point earlier. It definitely we could tell based on, and this was a wider gaming thing, but like they just started having like I guess games were getting more mature and like not us specifically, but like the wider demographic of people playing games, they wanted more mature games. So you ended up getting for a while at least, more mature mascots. Like I mentioned, Kratos a while back is for Sony, late into the PS2's lifespan. But you also had Master Chief coming right out of the gate for Microsoft. That was a big one. Um, you would get again characters like this was more near the tail end of this kind of phenomena happening, but you have during the PS3 you had like Nathan Drake. Um, Sony
I
also
mean, Nathan Drake was the entirety of the PlayStation 3
pretty
because
much, yeah,
the first Uncharted was
early
very
on,
early.
right?
But yeah,
Um, they started especially with Metal Gear Solid 2. Sony was really even though he wasn't exclusive, like they kind of like used Metal Gear Solid as a flagship series for PlayStation, since most of the time, at least, the games would start with PlayStation or would be primarily for PlayStation. So you had Solid Snake was like your big character there, even if he wasn't the only major character from that series, he was still like the face of it. So uh, and there was still signs of it like a little bit earlier on, but you didn't see that kind of like floodgates open up, because I mean you had mascots like Laura Croft in the 90s. I mean even Samus was a bit of a an icon for Nintendo for a very long time until the series kind of went dormant uh for a little bit, but like Samus is a little
she's
bit more.
she's still used in like popular marketing.
Exactly.
Like even when like Metroid was slightly more dormant than what it like, you
It's
know.
yeah, it's definitely more like utilized than the average franchise that Sony uses. Uh, I mean,
Yeah.
Sony used to for a little while. They were using the monkeys from Ape Escape, which going back to another like non-specific character, but like a species. They used the monkeys from Ape Escape for like marketing and as like a mascot of sorts, and then just completely stopped doing it after a while. And then they tried again, and it's weird too, because like even after we would get like more mature mascot characters such as Nathan Drake, Sony still wanted like a kitty mascot at the same time. So like they would introduce a new one if they didn't have one already. So like they started giving us Sackboy when they did the Little Big Planet games on the PS3.
Sackboy
Now we
and
have
then later
Astro,
Astrobot,
who
like Astro
started
being
off
introduced on PS4
4 with the
for the
VR,
VR.
right? And then he would just become the de facto PlayStation 5 mascot between Astro's Playroom and now Astro Bot, that just recently came out not too long ago as the time of our recording for this podcast, just a few months back. Uh,
You know who my favorite Sony mascot of all time is?
Fat Princess. You gotta hand it, right?
I mean,
No.
You gotta hand it to Fat Princess.
I gotta
Landon.
hand it to Fat Princess. I do actually like that video game, so fuck off.
Damn.
Who said I was kidding?
Not to you, Jack.
No, he knew I was
at
kidding.
Cloud. Yeah. No, my favorite is the 1997 Chevrolet Camaro Z 28th 30th anniversary.
Yeah,
That's my favorite mascot character for Sony.
Is that like a car from like Gran Turismo or some shit?
It's one of the cover cars from Gran Turismo 1.
hell yeah,
Okay.
perfect.
That makes sense.
Fucking, it's their best. Why was Gran Turismo not repped in fucking PlayStation All Stars?
I don't know.
True. Why can't you play as a car?
Why can't you be just a car? You can be just a man. Why can't you just be a car?
Good idea. Yeah.
Another reason
They
why
said-
that game failed.
They said you wouldn't download a car, and Sony said, "You're right."
You know,
You're right.
we couldn't get just a car. They should have at least let us have Sweet Tooth driving his car from Twisted Metal. Don't have him get out of the car. Just have him drive the car.
I would have been okay with that.
The little ice
Yeah.
cream car with his fucking like that'd be so
He
cool.
doesn't have a car in the game.
It's so
He's a
weird.
poor man.
He's
It's-
from a franchise. I mean, he's like the Captain Falcon of PlayStation All Stars
Exactly.
Battle Royale. Let's be real, because
He
Captain
is-
Falcon also didn't have his car.
He's kind of the Captain Falcon of Sony.
He really is. He
I
is
mean, Twisted
from.
Metal is a forgotten franchise.
I wouldn't say that's as forgotten as F Zero was. I mean, F Zero recently got F-Zero 99, but like, and gets like sporadic representation in other games. But like, they did a show for Twisted Metal recently, and
I was gonna
Hmm.
say they've
they
done more with the
occasionally,
Twisted Metal IP
yeah.
Maybe I'm just
than
not paying enough attention.
F Zero.
It's
Yeah,
really interesting too, because like they've definitely tried to make Sweet Tooth a mascot for PlayStation, but he is like one of those like lower tier mascots where they just kind of bring him in and out, and they have to sometimes kind of reinvent him. Like they, really delved more into his character in Twisted Metal Black on PS2, and they came out with the show. So they're really trying to make him into something. He just never is as
he's
big as like their bigger icons.
he's definitely the Star Fox in terms of like IP level. I feel like.
You know
Yeah,
what? Yeah,
I
that's fair.
think that's. I mean, at least Star Fox had. God.
I'm
I'm
not
not
I'm not trying to be rude to Star Fox, but like Star Fox is
I think
that
that's rude.
sort of IP
I think
level.
I think that's rude to Twisted Metal, if anything.
Yeah,
That's
to be.
fair.
Yeah, it's probably more rude to Twisted Metal.
Well, let's look at fucking sales.
Okay.
Yeah. You guys talk and I'll go look at sales numbers
Um,
for both series.
but yeah, I
I'm
will
I
say I felt like there was a decline in mascot characters as far as like just having at least a cohesive like this is the mascot of this company uh around like the PS3 era. At least to me, it felt like they were either trying to have too many mascots or they just couldn't have a definitive mascot depending on like the company. Like this is when Capcom was kind of flipping between whichever character was like most prominent from like a different certain franchise. Because you had Street Fighter, you had Resident Evil, they were both popular at the time. They had other series that were all popular to some extent, so they were trying to
I
use like whoever.
I don't know. I would argue that the mascot of Capcom at the time could be argued that was either Chris Redfield or Ryu, which you could argue
Yeah,
for their entire like existence, but like Resident Evil 5 and Street Fighter 4 came out in the same year, so that's two pretty huge releases for both franchises
I do think that
in the
they were
PS3 era.
I do think that they were utilizing Resident Evil a lot more during that time period as like a really like their bigger push. So like I like when I think of Capcom late 2000s, early 2010s, like I think of Resident Evil more than anything. I don't know why. That's just like the image I have of Capcom at the time. But
It's the way that it is.
it is the way that it
I
is.
mean, Resident Evil is their highest like sales number, so that's probably why you think that is because Resident Evil as a series has had the most sales. But I mean, and then it's Monster Hunter and then Street Fighter.
I
Um,
am surprised that Monster Hunter has outsold Street Fighter, but I guess it's bigger in Japan.
Dude,
it's huge. I mean, it's huge in Japan, but I mean it is very much caught on in
it has.
the West now.
I remember there's actually been like an interview that's been going around, or I think it was like, I think it's a recent one, and it was God, what was his name? But it was one of the guys behind PlayStation, and it was I think it was Shuhei Yoshida, and he was asked like, what was one of the most like stressful moments, like most like just like not good feeling moments when you were at PlayStation, and he said two things. One, when the 3DS got exclusive rights to the newest Monster Hunter, and two, when the 3DS got dropped to 170, or well, dropped in price. Obviously he's from Japan, so like it was a price drop in yen. But yeah, like those two
Yeah.
things, like because the Monster Hunter was fucking huge on PSP. Like that single-handedly sold PSPs in Japan. And that's another reason why we over here might not think of the PSP as much of a success as it really is, because they didn't have the killer app on the level that Monster Hunter was for the PSP in Japan. Like that
Listen,
really killed.
over here, the PSP had to compete with America's system,
The Nintendo DS. And the
Go listen to that
and the
podcast.
mascot of the DS, the Nintendog.
True.
You can't beat the Nintendog.
But which Nintendog? Or is it Labrador and Friends, Dachshund and Friends, or the third one? I forget the third one.
Was it Golden Retriever?
Was it Gold? It might have been Golden Retriever.
I don't
Hold
even
on.
know like if they actually like had sales split up between the versions to like which one sold the most.
Nintendogs.
I think the real mascot of the DS is the PictoChat icon.
Oh, it was Dalmatian and Friends. That's what it was.
Dalmatian.
Friends,
It was
that
Golden. Is Golden Retriever the 3DS? One of the 3DS games.
I think so.
Maybe
That makes
it also
sense.
could have just come out later on DS because like I know the DS that had I think the DS had like another set of Nintendogs games.
It had like
after.
18 Nintendo
Yeah.
games.
So it could have just been one of the later releases of on the DS. But to be honest, the only one that I know from the 3DS is Nintendogs and Cats. So like I don't know.
Well,
But-
I think there's two of those.
And I didn't even know that there was two. I thought there was just one.
I think there's two. I don't know. We haven't done the Nintendog podcast, so it's
You're
impossible
right.
to know.
You're right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know about you, but like the 2010s definitely feel like a little bit more of a blur as far as like higher tier, like higher caliber like AAA companies and their mascots. But I think there was a lot of indies that were really stepping into their own, that were able to have mascots of their own. Like we talked about Way Forward earlier, and them having Shantae, and she has grown to have like a big cult following. She's really popular now. But there's been other companies, like you had now called Choice Provisions. They had Commander Video, the Bit Trip song, the Bit Trip
Yep.
games. Even to this day, he is still like their main character of sorts. Even when they, step away from him to do other stuff, like he is kind of still like their mascot of sorts. So you have some indies have actually become successful enough to have mascots. I'm sure like if Christian Whitehead in his studio that like made Penny's Big Breakaway, maybe like 10 years from now we'll come back and like Penny is like his mascot. Who knows? I'm sure
It'd be
that-
interesting to see
That
if
would
they
be
have to
interesting.
release another game, though.
True.
Okay. I'm here to make a correction about
Uh-oh.
Nintendogs that
Uh-oh.
I commented on earlier. The first 3 Nintendogs games released in America are Dachshund and Friends, Labrador and Friends, and Chihuahua and Friends. And there is a Japan exclusive Shiba Inu and Friends.
That I expected. Yeah.
We need to go to
Unsurprisingly.
Japan.
Dalmatian and Friends came out a year after. It is the Pokemon Emerald of Nintendogs.
So it has a battle
Then-
frontier. Sick.
And then is the Nintendogs and Cats, is that French Bull and Golden Retriever?
I don't know if there was Golden Retriever, French Bulldog, and Toy
Got it.
Poodle.
I got two of the 3 of them.
And then also Japan had a Shiba Inu and New Friends.
Fuck.
New
Gotta go to
friends.
Japan.
They love the Shiba Inus in Japan.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, they just run wild. I
but
think there's more Shiba Inu than there are people.
I want to ask Landon though, like going off of the indie mascots, like what would you say are some like prolific ones for you?
Prolific?
Iconic,
Iconic?
From
popular.
indie games.
I mean, I can tell you ones that I know of.
Okay.
Commander
There's we talked about Commander Video while you were looking up Nintendo shit. But I mean, he would probably be the most iconic to me.
Quote from Cave Story.
Quote from Cave Story is a big one. I would say Meat Boy from Super Meat Boy
Mm-hmm.
is an iconic one nowadays. There is Shovel Knight from Shovel Knight.
Yeah.
it helps if your character
Is the name of the game.
Yeah.
Becomes super easy to be like, oh yeah, that's Shovel Knight.
That's Shovel Man from Shovel Knight.
I mean,
Names.
I'm sure that there's people out there that look at Commander video and they're like, that's the bit trip.
That's the bit trip.
The bit trip.
That's Charles Martinet.
That's Charles.
Oh my, that's him.
That's him.
Yeah.
He's right there. Let's see. Did I say Isaac from The Binding of Isaac?
No, you did
No.
not. But that's a
Because
good one.
I would say that's another
one.
one. What's one more? I can do this. I'm gonna pee my pants. Hold on.
Whoa.
Hold on, let me pull up my Steam library.
Yeah, pull up your Steam library while I piss my pants right now
Okay.
live on Twitch. Twitch.yeah.
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 Fucking
The Joker from Balatro, baby. Balatro mention.
Balatro.
God damn it.
What about Dave from Whoa Dave?
Whoa, Dave. I don't
Whoa,
I mean
Dave.
Dave's not I
I don't
definitely not
think
as
so.
iconic,
Well,
unfortunately.
no, obviously.
Because they've only done the 2 Daves. And they haven't even re-released. Have they even re-released Space? No, they released Space Dave on the Switch, right?
Yeah.
Think so.
Okay.
Space Dave was
it's-
originally
it's-
a Switch game.
I was gonna
Okay.
say it's so hard to remember because the Switch has like 10,000 games on it.
Yeah. Well, I have yet to get a physical release of either Woe or Space of the Dave. So
We need a collection package.
I need a collection of Woe Space Dave. I would
Whoa,
love
it's
that.
space.
I would love that. I don't know, like Kid Icarus. He's like a fucking indie, like fucking mascot.
Perfect. No notes.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount that fucking Nintendo has used him. There's Twisted Metal, Star Fox, Kid Icarus.
I mean,
True.
none of us play this game, but like objectively, Minecraft Steve.
very
True.
famous, very
Yeah.
popular.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Creeper is more of the iconic character from
Right,
that.
yeah. It's kind of like a Dragon Quest situation where like the iconic thing is like the main, like the most popular enemy that you see.
Because there's so many
There's so
fucking
much
children
so
that
much merchandise of Creeper.
I was gonna
Buy
say
the
you
Creeper.
did work at a GameStop for like almost a decade, so
Yeah.
you would know.
Yeah, like that. I mean, any of the like animals were super popular, or like the what is the fucking End Dragon or Enderman?
Ender
Enderman,
Dragon.
yep.
Yeah, those are super popular. But like, I mean, the pig or the goat or the cow, just because they're in the Minecraft like look.
Yep.
Any
Or, like-
fucking creature from Minecraft is
Yeah.
fucking popular.
But the creeper was the like more marketed one, I would
Right,
say.
yeah.
Like
Especially because it
fuck
was
Steve.
especially because it was a unique thing that Minecraft had that like you're not gonna see Creeper in like, I don't know, Gears of War.
Yeah, but you could see Steve in Gears of War, so
Yeah.
yeah, in his whole blocky form. So there you go.
I could easily see that.
That's
Yeah.
that's definitely how that works. Actually, I had one interesting question that I was thinking of, and I have an answer for it myself. What would you
Uh-oh.
say is an example of like a mascot that a company has tried to push that is just kind of like a I don't like mascot, please stop making it a thing sort of thing? Because I have one answer that literally came to mind that made me think of the question.
Is this a personal preference, or the world has like decided
It
stop
can,
making that a thing?
I think it can be either or. It's probably more close to personal preference, but it could also be depending on your region. That like one region just does not care for this character as a mascot. Because sometimes it's a regional thing where like a mascot's really popular in one region, just not popular in another.
I'm I mean, in the early 2010s, Dante from TNC Devil May Cry
Yeah,
is an
true.
example.
Yeah,
When they tried to, when
vision
they
of
changed
Dante,
up Dante's look and everyone hated it,
and they
and
still
they
tried to
tried
push
so
him.
hard.
Yep.
They pushed it so hard in everything, including PlayStation All Stars.
Yep. That's not the one I was thinking of. I was thinking of Yumi from Senran Kagura.
That is personal preference,
That is
but yes,
personal
that is
preference, but like that is like,
because she is unfortunately the most popular character in the game.
yep.
Fucking, I love Wonder Bread.
It's supposed to. It's
Said
supposed to be.
Japan.
It's supposed to be. Asuka was like the mascot character. She was the main character, and then
Her
Yumi was really popular in Japan, and they were just like, you know what? Yumi is the secondary mascot all the time, and then you
it
have people over here like us who are just like, oh.
Asuka's entire thing is that she's the main character. She says so herself. I don't know, man.
It's like how it'd be like if like the Neptunia games, the mascot is Neptune. It'd be like if they just like took another character and they were just like, this character's also the mascot, and it's just like, no, she's supposed to be the mascot. Um,
Al says Marth kinda. Not for his personal preference, but because
it's true.
Western Fire Emblem fan base doesn't care about him like Japan compared to other Fire Emblem characters. True, I think a lot of it comes from, well,
Smash
one,
Brothers.
he's in Smash Brothers, and
He's like
that's
their main character from Smash Brothers.
because he's the main, like he's the first protagonist.
Yeah. So by default, he's like the mascot for the franchise.
But because his game is like not our like first game, like fuck him. Is sort of like, that's unfortunately how it goes. It's like, I don't care about Marth.
Yeah.
You know who we really need to make the mascot of Fire Emblem? Sami from Fire Emblem Engage. The fucking dog creature.
Oh,
Okay.
that makes sense. I've played that video game and he said words and I was like, huh?
He's it's just like a dog creature.
Yeah, it is. It's like God or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you feed it, pet it, dress it up, just like you would any god.
Another mascot that I actually thought of that's like, they're not indie, but they're definitely not like a bigger company, is the Prinnies from the Disgaea games under
true.
under NIS. Like they've been able to market the shit out of Prinnies, and those are like a mascot it's kind of in line with like Pikmin or Slimes, like sort of like a species of thing that's iconic.
Like, my girlfriend has never played a Disgaea game, but she knows the Prinnies.
Exactly.
And loves them.
And they're a great mascot because you don't have to know what the franchise is about or what it is to be like, that's a fucking cool character.
Mm-hmm.
It's
just a penguin
that can explode and says
yeah.
dude. Like, that's all you need to know. That's all you need to know.
I was going to say, for a character that they continue to try to shove down my throat, 100% Pikachu, fuck that rat. Kill it.
Landon will die on that hill.
Yeah. And
you could argue that
Charizard.
Pokemon is kind of trying to force Eevee into becoming like a new secondary mascot.
It's definitely become the secondary mascot, and it's already become like kind of like a nepo baby in the same way as Pikachu, where like they give Eevee a lot. Like, they gave it its own game as a starter. They've given it multiple evolutions. They gave it a unique Z move when they didn't do that with a whole lot of like unevolved Pokemon. It was basically just Pikachu and Eevee. Back when they came out with the Sun and Moon games. So like, yeah, Eevee's like basically a second mascot, and you find a lot in like bigger franchises where they have multiple.
It did help that Eevee was your rival's main Pokemon
in Yellow.
In Yellow, which was the Pokemon Pikachu fucking game. So like, it's been there since basically the start of this whole ride. But But yeah, fucking Eevee is definitely like. I mean, they always go like they cycle through with every new set of Pokemon. Like Greninja was
Yeah.
stupid popular.
They always use
During
their
that era.
yeah, they always use their what they call first partner, but starter Pokemon or like whatever generation they're in. Like those are their mascots for that generation.
But not always, because like Lucario was stupid popular for Gen 4.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
Yeah.
he ended up being like a dark horse that like became more prominent than Piplup, Turtwig, or Chimchar. But yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. Like there are like franchises where they're like so big that at points they have like multiple, especially like monster raising stuff. Like Digimon does have Agumon, that is a very concrete mascot. But there's like a bunch of rookie Digimon and even like more like powerful Digimon that are like so iconic that like you know that like that's a Digimon. Like that is like quintessential Digimon. Like you have stuff like
Fridge with gun, mon.
no, I was thinking stuff like Omnimon. You have Beelzemon, you have Vmon, Gaomon, Patamon. Like, there's a lot of Digimon that are all like really iconic, and they've shuffled around. Sometimes Agumon's still like your top dog, kind of like the Pikachu, but like that doesn't mean there aren't like a bunch of other Digimon that are like super iconic. Because there are. It's just stuff with lots and lots of characters just naturally that happens to. I mean, it's not rooted in a video game series. It has a video game series, but like Yu-Gi-Oh's the same way, where like you have Blue Eyes White Dragon is a mascot monster, but I mean, there's also Dark Magician and like fucking Blackluster Soldier and like a bunch of other ones that are popular. And then on the character side, you have Yugi, but there's also Kaiba and there's also Jaden, depending on the series that they're going to. There's just a lot of different popular characters. I mean, even now they've been moving up like uh, Peach and Bowser and Daisy as like and Rosalina as like iconic Mario characters. Uh, that's one thing I really noticed, like especially 2010s onward, is rather than make like um, new mascots, we're just seeing a lot of series just have like multiple prominent characters that they use as mascots. Like,
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that, honestly.
no, I don't think so.
Especially in the case of Mario, like it's nice to have like the character diversity in a platformer like Mario Wonder does.
Right. It's cool that like all of the Nintendo Switch eShop cards are like different Mario characters. Like you have Bowser, Luigi, Yoshi, they're like all on there. So
I think all of them are Mario characters except for Link, though.
yeah, it's so
Yes.
weird. Like
Link is
the
just
only
that
one.
popular.
He's
Yeah.
that guy.
He's the Mario of Mario characters.
What does that mean?
Mario is the Luigi.
Yeah. In this context, like Mario's second fiddle when it comes to Link as a Mario character.
Also, RIP Microsoft, where the fuck are your mascots? You got like nobody.
You mentioned
I mentioned Master Chief.
you mentioned Master Chief. You brought up Gears of War. You just
Yeah.
didn't mention a character from it because I don't think there's any characters in that game.
There are characters
There are
in that
characters.
game. It's just like none of them are really mascot worthy. I mean, like
Yeah.
if anything, the mascot for Gears of War is the fucking Red Skull logo with the gear around it. Like that is the mascot for Gears of War.
Yeah.
It's the
mostly
gear of
symbol.
war.
It is the gear of war. I'm surprised we didn't bring it up, but like Doom, known as Doomslayer now, but Doom Guy, he was like an iconic, more mature mascot, and he still is today. Like there's still people that love Doom Guy. Like he's just
Doom Guy is a great mascot.
exactly like it. They struck gold with him, and like they don't. That
Yeah.
You know who I think is the most popular and prevalent of the Microsoft mascot characters?
he's gonna
Viva
name
Pinata.
he's gonna name a car from Forza, right?
It's Viva Pinata.
It is Viva Pinata. Damn it.
It should be Viva Pinata, but it is the 2008 Dodge Viper SRT 10 ARC.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
God, imagine if we got a Viva Pinata remaster.
God, please.
Imagine if we just got a new Viva Pinata game.
Imagine
crazy.
Imagine if Microsoft used Banjo and Kazooie as mascots, since they have the fucking IP.
They never
Imagine
will.
if Microsoft made a video game.
I think it's
Imagine
funny.
if you could buy cheap viewers.
Oh, imagine if you could buy cheap viewers. Right on cue, we got our usual wanna stream chat fucking bot in the advertising viewers. That's awesome.
Al, can
Thank
you?
you for that.
Thank you, Al.
Thank you for that.
You know who should be a mascot of their respective franchise? The chicken from 100% Orange Juice.
Absolute cinema.
Gotta.
Absolute cinema. The
Gotta.
fact that 100% orange juice, and you know the funny thing is 100% orange juice is literally a crossover game of a bunch of like really fucking small games, and they use iconic characters from like all of them, like characters like Sugity and Hime. Those are from the Sugity series. For instance, there's like other characters from like other shit I've never heard of in my life before, but like that chicken. It's gotta be. It's gotta be the mascot. 100% orange juice.
I mean, for Toho, it's got to be Reimu, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's
like,
Reimu. Like she's not the most popular character sometimes, but she usually is. Maurice is the secondary mascot. They're both like in every single game, pretty much every single game at least. So like they're like dual mascots of sorts. There's other iconic characters, but like Reimu's the main girl, and Maurice is always with her, so it's both of them usually.
I like how you almost called Reimu the main guy.
She is the main guy.
I mean, there are no guys in the Toho universe.
There is Renosuke. One guy. There's one guy.
He's the main guy.
And he is like one of the most minor characters in the entire fucking franchise. It's great.
Like I said, the main guy.
The main guy.
Main guy.
Landon, who's the mascot for Lexine's Quest?
The narrator, me.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
The Team
K, Lexine.
The Team KJ logo that you see when the credits scroll. That's the mascot.
Hell yeah.
That random.
The narrator really is. I mean, the narrator is omnipresent.
Really
I mean,
is.
definitely
True.
The main character. Just the least marketable main character.
Yeah,
mascot.
unfortunately. It's very unfortunate. So we just use we use Jade as the marketable character.
Hell yeah.
All right. Do we have any other closing thoughts on mascot characters, or is there?
I'm surprised. Go ahead.
I'm surprised we didn't bring up Kirby.
We did talk about Kirby.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
We mostly mentioned the fact that he's like kind of one of the big mascots for the Game Boy, and he's always been kind of like a prominent portable mascot for Nintendo, since he's always usually on the handhelds.
That is true.
I wanted to pose the question, if you could have one like mascot character game released in 2025, the year of our Lord, what would that be?
Oh, that's easy. Ape Escape. I want a new Ape Escape. Sony, what the fuck? I'm so pissed. And no, the sub game that's coming out in Snake Eater, because that was in the original game, that doesn't count. Give us a new Ape Escape, please. That's my answer.
That is a good question. I think Banjo-Kazooie is probably my default, but
it's a good answer.
My first thought was Jet Set Radio, though I don't know if I would argue that any of the characters from that game are mascots.
I wouldn't call Jet Set a mascot game, unfortunately.
No. I just want a new Jet Set Radio game.
That's fair.
But I think my answer is Banjo-Kazooie.
It's literally been 17 years since Nuts and Bolts, and that game that doesn't count.
That wasn't even a good one.
Yeah, so
it's been like over 25 years since the last good one.
The most representation he's had since is in Smash Brothers.
Yep.
I do want a new Sly Cooper game. I know that is
Good
as
predictor.
about as realistic as Cloud getting a new Ape Escape game.
To be fair,
So
more realistic than that because at least Sly had a full ass game on PS3. Sly 4 came out on PS3, right?
yeah,
And Ape Escape did not get a proper game on PS3. So
well, Sony has decided that Sly Cooper is
Sony,
about as good as far as marketable as Ape Escape at this point.
as we mentioned in a previous podcast,
Now-
Sony popular for saying such things as we don't have enough IP.
We don't have any IP.
We don't have any
I think
IP.
is what they said.
I think
Yeah.
they actually did say that. Yeah.
Now here's an interesting question. Does Tony Hawk qualify as a mascot character?
I mean, it's his Pro Skater series.
It is his series. His name is on all of the games, and he is the main character.
I would argue that he is. I mean, just because someone is a real life person, that doesn't mean they can't be the mascot of something that's like if it's a popular game series. Like, I mean, Spider-Man is the mascot of his franchise of games, but like, you know, he's not from video games originally, but he's still a mascot character for Sony now. So like, you can count
Insomniac Spider Dude.
Spider Dude.
Spider Boy.
Spider Boy.
It's not Spider-Man. It's Man Spider. There's a difference.
I like to go by Guy Spider personally.
I have another question though. What is more likely to happen first? Microsoft putting out a new Banjo-Kazooie or Naughty Dog putting out a new Jak and Daxter?
The heat death of the universe.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, it's funny.
Yes.
Like, I guess Naughty Dog is currently working on a new game, but it's definitely not Jak and Daxter.
I would kill for a Jak and Daxter made by current day Naughty Dog. I feel like it could work really well, but it'll never happen.
I think a new Kid Icarus game is more likely than
Definitely
either of those things. And
I was gonna say, I feel like Masahiro Sakurai would come out of retirement and make Kid Icarus Uprising 2 before we get a new.
I would love that.
Before we get a new, yeah. Anything else, Jack? Since you were asking some good questions.
No, that was pretty much it.
All right. This is going to be our break times. Well, for these guys, I'm sure. I'm going to just spit some words out at you guys. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in so far. It's been a great podcast. We are coming up on the end of the second season of the podcast. It's pretty crazy. We've been doing this for almost 2 years. We barely miss a week. Occasionally, we'll put like 1 week off in order to take a quick break. But we're almost 2 full seasons. And you can check out that at rss.com /gaming/podcast/GamingStooges. Or maybe just rss.com/GamingStooges. I'm not sure. We have a Discord though, and link is in the to that podcast is on that Discord, and link to that Discord is in the description, as well as the podcast itself too, if you just want to check out the podcast. We've got a YouTube. We've been exporting all of our stuff there. It's not really our main channel anymore, but everything that we do on Twitch, that goes out to YouTube. So if you don't catch us live, you can just watch it on YouTube. You got VODs of the podcast. You've got VODs of all of our streams. On Twitch, we are doing oh my God, so many streams. We're streaming so many games right now. There's still Ace Attorney Dual Destinies going on. Landon's still doing Dragon Quest 3, HD 2D. I'll be starting the Final Fantasy II Pixel Remaster soon, so we'll finally be jumping back into our Pixel Remaster series. I do plan to get through all 6 of those by the end of this year. And we've got a bunch of other stuff that's going to be coming up and going. I think there might be another game in there that I forgot about. Oh yeah, Jack started playing Sonic Forces, so that's another game that you can watch on.
God help me! I started Sonic Forces.
It was an orchestrated effort. I was like, Landon, we should both get him Sonic Forces and Sonic Superstars. So each of us got 1 game, and we got him to play Sonic Forces. You're
very lucky that I'm a man of my word.
Yep.
I said I I said I would play Sonic Forces if one of you two bought it for me, and I did.
Yep, there it is. There it is.
It's exceedingly mediocre so
It
far. I would
really
argue, in some ways, I would argue worse than mediocre.
it is the most by the numbers, just trying to get by kind of Sonic game I've ever seen in my life.
Which sucks because they took like 6 years to develop it.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, it didn't actually. That wasn't all development time.
I know. It just
But
the fact that
it
it
was a
was like
6 year gap after
the
generations.
follow up to Generations, like, come on,
And even
man.
if like you go back and like, okay, there was Sonic Lost World, that's still 4 years between Lost World and
Lot I choose to believe that doesn't exist.
yeah, it's still 4 years between Lost World and Forces, and it's like, damn, man, we waited that long for that game, and then and then we had to wait 5 more years to get a good 3D Sonic game again when we got Frontiers. So 5 years of Forces being our most recent 3D Sonic game.
It was rough.
That was a tough time. We're out of it now. We're good. We're better. Sonic is actually doing pretty good again. We'll see how
Thank
long
you, Shadow.
we'll see how long it lasts. Um, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I went through all that stuff. I did not give a shout out to our Patreon yet, but our patreon.com/GamingStooges, you can go there. We've been doing polls. We've been doing uh, exclusive content. We've got a really cool piece this past month where we presented our picks for the Game Boy Mini, Game Boy Classic. And honestly, the roster that we picked for games for that is stacked. You should definitely check it out. Subscribe to the Gold Stooge tier if you aren't already, so you can check that out. Plus, we have a whole backlog of really cool stuff you can check out as well. And of course, on that Gold Stooge tier, we've also got our special shout out to Pixel Vixen as per usual. So thank you, Pixel Vixen, especially all of you guys though that have been donating to the Patreon. You guys all rock. Thank you so much for helping us keep this podcast going.
You're welcome.
We've got Landon back with a spoon and digging into what I assume is ice cream.
Tillamook limited edition salty caramel pretzel ice cream.
Oh. Oh.
Nice.
Is the base vanilla?
Of course. Salted vanilla ice cream with chocolatey covered pretzel bits and a ribbon of salted caramel.
Chocolate covered pretzel bits?
Chocolate.
Did you say
dig one out.
chocolate?
Can
I'd like to
kinda
buy
see
all
it.
your chocolate.
God, I hope we get that over here.
Da-da-da-da.
And the taste test.
Mm.
For the listeners, Landon always likes to bring something to eat on his break, usually Tillamook, and he sometimes it's a new thing that he's got to test out and give us his verdict on.
I like this.
Nice.
I fuck this.
Okay. So we're gonna jump back into our podcast discussion after all of that quick housekeeping. So we didn't originally have this as something we were going to cover on the podcast, but Sony did a state of play for their PlayStation lineup today, and it was actually well, we'll talk about it. There was quite a bit of stuff that was announced or shown off or just kind of reminding people or revealed. There's just a lot of different stuff. And I actually have a link, thanks to Landon, that's more thorough than the one I found, of all the stuff that went down in order. So let's just jump right in. First thing that was shown off, they basically just showed off more of Monster Hunter Wilds. That's coming out very soon as of this podcast. Huge game from Capcom, huge game for 2025. And they showed off a trailer specifically for the first free update that's going to be happening. That's going to be adding a certain monster. I can't remember the name of it. But that's going to be added in post-release, so that'll be really cool.
I think it's funny. Capcom literally just had their own like presentation thing.
Did they? Wow,
Yes.
I did not know about that. That's
I think it
funny.
was like either the week we're recording this or the previous week. They just had one. What the fuck are you doing here, Capcom? Piss off. Anyway,
Uh,
Monster Hunter looks like Monster Hunter.
yeah, it looks
And
great.
that's cool if you like Monster Hunter.
I'm not a Monster Hunter fan. My girlfriend is. She literally just got a PS5 today just to play the new Monster Hunter game. So
She went out and bought a PS5 just because she saw the trailer for this game.
no, she already was. She played the beta because she was already excited for the game itself when it was already revealed.
Oh.
Because it was revealed first at the Game Awards, correct? And she was excited since then. She played the beta that was out earlier in the month, and then she just
Was it Game Awards? I thought it was introduced earlier than that.
Was it? I thought it was Game Awards. Um,
I'm gonna look it up.
but anyway, continuing on though, she ended up sending me the money, and I grabbed a PS5 on my way out of work today for her. So now she has a PS5. Um, so yeah, that was Monster Hunter Wilds. Then Shinobi Art of Vengeance was revealed. So we got a new Shinobi game. It's a side scroller. We got some an action. It it's I read it was not quite like a Metroidvania, but sort of, kind of. Um, but that's pretty cool that that Sega's reviving the Shinobi franchise. Actually, Sega had a couple of things here. We'll get to them.
I'm super excited for this Shinobi Art of Vengeance. It looks fucking sick.
Yeah, it's really flashy. Like there's a lot of like emphasis on like poppy visual effects for everything that's going on. It looks very stylish. So
Oh, you know what it was? It was the Game Awards 2023.
Oh,
that's right. It
when
was
Monster Hunter
revealed
World,
all the way. Yeah,
Wilds was shown off.
it was revealed all the way the previous year. I forgot about that.
So, like, you were right.
it was originally shown off in the Game Awards.
right,
Just
right event, wrong year.
Wrong year.
Yeah, well, he didn't specify the year. That's why I was like, I remember it being at like the game. I thought it was also shown off like during the Game Awards, like not E3 summer of video gaming this year, but I was like, but yeah, okay.
All right.
Anyway, Shinobi looks
already-
fucking cool, and then this next game looks fucking stellar.
Probably the biggest game for us personally, Sonic Racing Crossworlds. It was teased previously, but we got a full-on reveal trailer. So we got to see a lot of the courses that are going to be in the game. We got to see a lot of the characters. It does look like it is going to, as well, at least character-wise, strictly be Sonic characters. But we got to see snippets of a lot of different characters, including characters we might not have thought of expecting to see. Like Jade from Frontiers is here apparently, so that's pretty cool.
Bet the Hawk's cousin Jet the Hawk is back.
Yeah,
Hell
Jet the
yeah.
Hawk is back. A very big reveal in that trailer is that the hoverboards from Riders are returning, so we could be seeing Riders content fused into this game, so that's really cool.
Fuck yeah.
It looks like they're bringing back some transformed courses. It's kind of hard to tell, but it does look like the Afterburner stage is back as a part of the stage.
I'm 90% sure it's the same stage
Yeah,
from
it's-
Transformed.
It looks just like it.
Speaking of
Yeah.
Transformed, it looks like they're taking the concept of Transformed and really just kind of going balls in on it, because not only do you have the return of like, you have jet boats and the flight and like the little planes, but also the tracks themselves will morph. Like you'll have like a freaking like the rings from the movies open up and you'll just get transported to a totally different racetrack. So they are really just like they're going crazy with like variation.
It will be interesting to see if that is like a permanent like mode that cannot be turned off, or if it's like an option to say like, oh yeah, like you can like have a fucking like
You can have the stage.
what if you could choose the laps? Like you could choose like one lap from one course and then another lap from another course. It probably won't be that cool, but what if?
Yeah, it does.
I mean, that would be really like a choose your own
Racetrack.
Grand Prix, basically,
Yeah,
where you're each lap you get to decide what course
that would be sick.
you're doing. Yeah,
It definitely looks like the game is going to be like really just taking a lot of the stuff that people liked from previous Sonic racing games and just kind of like just getting some really interesting ideas in there. I mean, we saw stuff that we weren't expecting to see, like Dino Jungle from Secret Rings is apparently in here. Like,
Fuck
what the
yeah.
hell? Like, okay.
I want more Secret Rings levels in this game. Free them from the shackles of Secret Rings.
I want a Black Knight level.
Honestly,
That
I mean,
too.
if they're gonna do a Secret Rings level, we might as well get a Black Knight level. Like it,
Yeah.
it's wild that they've been digging back into like the mid-aughts Sonic stuff, because for the longest time they really didn't want to touch anything pre-Unleashed and post-Adventure 2. But they're going in, they're trying it out, and it's going to be really interesting. So.
Tillamook update. There is way more chunks and stuff than I feel like there's normally in these guys.
Nice.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I love it.
But yeah, Sonic Racing Crossworlds. I don't remember if we were given a release date. I think it's just this year at some point. So
yeah, I don't think it has a release date yet. I watched the trailer earlier and it looks sick as fuck. Yeah. I'm excited for it.
And Landon, you're excited for it too.
Oh yes, very much so. Only if they feature Bet the Hawk, though.
Oh yeah,
gotta have Bet is not in it, then I don't give a shit.
So now
He's my favorite Sonic character. The mascot of Sonic.
The question I have to ask is, depending on the platforms that it comes out on, which one are we going to get it for? Because if it comes out later in the year, it could be a Switch 2 game. But if that's the case, are we all going to have a Switch 2 by then? If not, if it's going to be on PS5, is Jack going to get a PS5 and are we all going to get on that? Is it going to be actually on the Switch 1? And if so, I mean, we'll probably get it on that. But based on what I was seeing visually, I'm not sure if they're going to put it on Switch 1. It's kind of tough to tell. Like visually, it was an incredibly detailed game, so I'm not sure.
Famously, I pre-ordered Sonic and Sega Racing Transformed for the Wii U before I knew I was getting a Wii U.
True.
So there's a chance that if it's coming to the Switch 2, it might be that. Also, because I don't want to pay for a second online service.
True. I'm really, my fingers are crossed that it's going to be on Switch 2, and like I plan to get a Switch 2 this year when it's out. I don't know if it'll be right away, but I plan to try to get it as soon as possible this year. So like if we all get a Switch 2, then we can just play it on Switch 2. So
that's my thing, is I just don't want to pay for another online service if I don't.
Valid. Yeah, if it's out on the Switch 2, I'll probably have a Switch 2 by the time it's out.
All right.
So
let's move on to the next thing that was revealed was a new Digimon Story game. We got Digimon Story Time Stranger revealed.
I'm mad because when Al posted the screenshot of the title for the reveal, there was a rumor of this because GameStop put it up on their website early.
So GameStop
I read it as
this.
Yes. I read this as Phantasy Star, like some subtitle. And so like I was like very excited for a new Phantasy Star game.
Damn it.
And then that is not the case, and now I'm upset because there's no new Phantasy Star game.
But it is a new Digimon Story, so like the Digimon Story games are pretty well received. So if you liked those previous ones, it's just probably going to be a pretty good game up your alley. We got a trailer for a game called Lost Soul Aside, which has a release date. I don't know much about this game, but apparently this studio's been working on this game for quite a while. So
it looks like a Dark Souls fucking a Souls-like game. Yeah. So piss off. Pass.
But a lot more interesting, we got some more stuff on Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. They let everybody know there will be a free demo coming out soon. They had a
On
trailer,
Friday
showed it off
of
this week where that we're recording.
yeah, so the
Okay.
14th. So happy Valentine's
Valentine's
Day.
Day.
Happy Wario Land 4 Day, folks.
Happy Wario Land
Hell
4
yeah,
Day. Happy
brother.
Valentine's Day. Happy Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii free demo day. Yeah. So yeah. There is a holiday crossover for Dave the Diver. Cool, I guess.
Ichiban's Holiday.
Yeah. Uh, Splitgate 2 is getting an alpha on the 27th of this month. I don't know this game.
It looked like an arena shooter. Fuck off. Pass.
This is like those couple things, like that was like one segment where I was tuned out a little bit because I was paying more attention to my girlfriend setting up her PS5. So like I didn't pay too much attention, but I did tune back in. So there was a trailer for the upcoming WWE 2K game, and usually that's like not interesting at all. Like who cares? But they showed off this like new feature called the Island, and they had Paul Heyman actually get on, and like Paul Heyman is charismatic as fuck as far as WWE personalities go. He can like really sell you on anything. And this guy's like telling us about the island. It's like this big like PlayStation Home-esque like hub that you can go to and customize your character, and it seems pretty wild. Now, I was told in our Discord server, again, join our Discord, this game is going to be on PS4, but the island mode will not be in it, which is weird. And it makes me think that like they're just kind of rushing a PS4 port out to like get whatever sales they can. But
usually a lot of these sports games, since like this our current gen has come out, is whatever new cool feature is just absent in the Switch and like
PS4,
PS4,
like
Xbox versions. So I'm not surprised at all. Like a lot of the my player storyline shit for a lot of these games usually gets axed in whatever, like in the past gen,
so
just like, because they're like, fuck off.
They're trying to like get like devoted fans of their franchise to move up to the new hardware.
Pretty much. I think MLB the Show has done it where like there was like one year they added like a stadium customizer, but you had to be on like the current gen, not the last gen stuff. So yeah, I'm not surprised at all that it's exclusive to the PS5.
But that said, it is a really actually cool new like mode that actually has made me interested in a WWE game for the first time in God, I cannot remember how long. So I mean, maybe I'll check it out. I don't know. Depends on how good the actual core game is, because that, as far as WWE games can go, it can go up or down. It's never consistent. Um, we got a gameplay trailer for Borderlands 4 with an announcement for a state of play for just this game coming later this year, and it'll be coming out in September on the 23rd, the actual game. So Borderlands 4 is a thing. I still haven't played Borderlands 3 though, so.
I'd say Borderlands, I mean, past Borderlands 2, I know Jack and I have played the pre-sequel, but like
the pre-sequel, baby.
Yeah, the pre-sequel, baby.
I think we just kind of
famously,
right?
I have, and then we like when Borderlands 3 announced and came out. One issue with that is like none of the classes looked interesting to play.
Yeah.
Like, sorry if Songwon Cho voices one of the fucking characters, but like literally none of these characters look interesting to play. Yeah. So like maybe at least the pre-sequel had like interesting-ish classes.
So maybe if the classes look kind of cool in Borderlands 4, maybe, but I mean,
maybe, but also I don't want to pay for another online subscription service. Thanks.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey,
but
unless
if it does look cool,
release,
could come out on Switch 2
release, baby. Let's go.
We have. I mean, we don't have Borderlands 3. I don't think.
No,
but we
just
have
Borderlands 1-2 pre-sequel.
Yeah, we do have the original Borderlands games on Switch, so maybe it's possible. There was a trailer for the game Split Fiction. Uh, I don't know this game all that well. Oh,
this one was
that's the
Hazelight.
Yeah.
Is the developer for this, who made famously A Way Out and It Takes Two.
Yep.
Ooh.
So it's another one of their split screen co-op type games.
Oh, okay.
And this one is about two female writers that are like stuck in each other's like stories. So like they have to work together to play through these stories that they've written. And so what from the trailer, it was showing off like a lot of like weird settings. Like there was like sci-fi, and then like there was like a more fantasy setting that they end up going into. But I mean, we played through A Way Out. I think we all loved it.
Yeah, it was
definitely it was a very fun game.
I think it's definitely one of the those kind of games where like you do have to have another person to play with to like really get the most mileage out of it. But when you do, it's a pretty damn fun time.
And I know Jack played through It Takes Two.
I did pretty recently, actually. And it's gameplay, fantastic. Characters, annoying.
So who knows if this one's going to be characters annoying, gameplay fantastic. I mean, I feel like Haze Life has like really like nailed down like this like type of game. So it's just, is the story going to be interesting or not?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah. So I'm excited to see more on it.
This next game, I did not realize it looked good, and I did not realize this major detail about it at first. But we've got Directive 8020 launching on October 2nd. That is a new Dark Pictures game. Let's fucking go! The game already looked pretty good, and then when I saw there was a Dark Pictures game afterwards, oh, let's fucking go.
It could be total shit, and it'll still be a fun time to play through.
Yeah, Spookfest, baby.
Let's fucking
Spookfest.
Go.
It comes
out in time.
Early enough. It comes out early enough that, because that's a Thursday that it comes out.
Yeah, we could feasibly start that like the following week and finish it before the month is over.
Could start it that night. I mean, well, it depends.
Sorry, Katie, but it's always been Dark Pictures.
Dark Pictures is, as long as they continue to make Dark Pictures games, we will play them for Spookfest.
Yeah, even though technically The Quarry wasn't a Dark Pictures game, it just has to be.
No,
it has to be a Supermassive Games game has to release.
I mean, maybe if there is time, we did talk like off stream, like maybe Crow Country will still fit in there, but like they dropped this. They dropped this. This has to happen. Like,
well, we've known about this too. Like,
we knew it was going to come out,
but we didn't know the date. The date is new. And sometimes they release this shit like at the end of October, but this one got it in. They're squeezing it in.
This is going to be the first time since I think Until Dawn that we actually play a Supermassive game the same year it comes out.
Yeah, we've been behind a little bit.
Yeah,
but that's fine.
The next game that we saw was the reveal of a new Five Nights at Freddy's launching on June 13th.
Pass.
We got a new trailer for the game Midnight Walk. The Midnight Walk. I don't know all that much about this one.
It looked weird.
Yeah.
So pass.
The next game, Konami, of all companies, this publisher that is hated, despised, is usually the most absolute pieces of shit. They are publishing a game called Darwin's Paradox, and it's the cutest looking game about a fucking a squid, octopus. Like you're venturing around. You're just venturing around. It's like, it looks really good.
It looks solid.
Konami game?
I refuse to believe that Konami had anything to do with it.
Yeah, no, they definitely just published this and did not have anything to do with the actual development.
I'm surprised.
It looks really fun.
I'm just even surprised they published this. Like, Konami even publishing a good new IP? What is this? But yeah, it looks really good, though. It looks fun. Like, this actually looks like a game that it depending on price point, uh, I'm interested in grabbing it. Like it looks fun. So there was a reveal of Koei Tecmo game called Warriors Abyss, which is actually out now. It's a roguelike. I don't know much about it, but yeah, that is revealed and it's out, so you can play it, I guess. There was a back-to-back reveal. We got trailer for Onimusha 2 Samurai's Destiny. That's a remaster of Onimusha 2 that's launching on May 23rd. So we got a re-release of Onimusha 2 for current platforms. It's actually on PS4, interestingly. But we also got a trailer for a new Onimusha Way of the Sword, which is not going to be out this year. It will not be out till next year. But we've got two Onimusha games coming out. If you happen to be a fan of that series, you must be eating pretty good right now.
I think it's funny that we're far enough into 2025 that we're already looking forward to 2026 releases.
It's weird. It's the middle of February and we're already getting reveals for next year. This reminds me of, I can't remember which year it was, but there was like this one year, right? Where like I think Microsoft and Sony were like doing I think E3 was still a thing at the time, and they were just like every game they were revealing was like next year, next year, next year, next year. It was like, what's even coming out this year? It just if But thankfully there was only a couple of games that were like that in this state of play. It's just funny that there's games being revealed at all for next year in this state of play this early in the year, but whatever.
I mean, Onimusha, the Wave of Sword, it actually like they had a decent
Yeah.
chunk of gameplay to it. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like a cinematic trailer and just like a logo splash. It was
No.
like
They
what
had
looked like actual game.
they
So
had a good vertical slice of gameplay to like show off what it's like, so it looks pretty good too.
I mean,
We
it's
got
weird that it's going to be a 2026 release as opposed to like a November 2025.
Yeah, but we got another trailer for Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater, and we got a confirmed release date of August 28th.
Cloud's favorite game announced
I'm
or
so
shown off at
no,
least.
I'm so mad. So like this game, if you don't know, back on the PS2, this game and Ape Escape 3 had a collab, and they had a sub game that you would basically play the other game uh flavored in like that. So like you would like catch monkeys in Snake Eater, and then in Ape Escape 3, you got to play as a monkey in a stealth game like Metal Gear Solid 1. And so at the end of the trailer, they showed off the monkey, and I like got really excited for a second, and then I remembered, no, this is just part of Snake Eater. Don't fucking do this to me, Sony. I've never played any of the Metal Gear Solid games substantially. I played through a chunk of the first game. I really have to get back to it. I mean, it's a fun series of what little I've played, but I mean, if you like Metal Gear Solid, we got Snake
Oh
Eater
yeah.
coming back. Yeah. We got another trailer for Hell Is Us, and they confirmed a release date of September 4th. I wasn't really too interested in this one from what I was seeing. I was like, okay.
Pass.
Yeah. There was a trailer for DLC for Liza P, being titled Liza P Overture. So you got a glimpse at that DLC that's coming out. I never played Liza P.
It's because it's a Souls-like.
It is a Souls-like. I did catch that from the trailer, but yeah. Like Al says, I like that the Xbox version is getting Bomberman instead of Ape Escape. I did not know that. That is weird. Okay. Um, there was a announcement and trailer for a game, a very interesting game called Dreams of Another, which is so it's in basically it's like and it's also going to support the PSVR 2, but that doesn't really matter to any of us. But it's like it's kind of it's one of those like world generative games where like the world is formed around you, but the twist is you shoot the world around you to form it. Like it's a shooter, and the world is like very vague looking, and as you shoot stuff, it just kind of like stuff like is created, and it looks really fascinating. Um, but yeah, I don't know how else to explain it. It's a weird looking game, but I thought it looked cool. I thought it was interesting. So like you can even use like different kinds of guns too. Like there's a rocket launcher, a grenade launcher, or whatever. There's like a submachine gun. Like you got a bunch of different guns. So it's gonna be interesting how that affects like the world creation, the world generation in this game. But yeah, it looks pretty cool. Landon, did you have any thoughts on it?
Uh, it was like the third most interesting thing. I
Yeah,
feel like.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there's
Well,
it's
actually, maybe fourth. I actually am looking forward to a couple games. There's actually like some
yeah.
games.
We'll get to it. We'll talk more about like general thoughts, but to
Yeah.
keep going, we have the Days Gone remaster, which was I'd heard like rumors and stuff about this, but we got uh that's going to be coming out on PS5 on April 25th. So yeah,
Why?
I yeah, that's what that's what I said to Landon
Why the
before we started.
fuck? No one likes this fucking game. Days Gone sucks ass, and we're getting a remaster? This is like a waste of money. This is a waste of resources. You can play the PS4 version on your fucking PS5. Why do we need a goddamn Days Gone remastered? Fuck you. And
Gaze
it's on my
done.
birthday, too.
Yep, it is out on his birthday. Yeah.
What's left of the PS4 like Sony first party that has not been remastered
and it's
to
Knack.
PS5?
it's
Knack.
yeah, it's
Knack and the Order
Knack.
1886 or whatever.
Al said that Jack should rant more often, and honestly, I agree. This is a Jack that I miss hearing. Like this
Yeah.
is
Scream and shout.
and let it all
Okay.
out. But yeah, like and I agree with Jack. Like I've said this before in other podcasts. Sony keeps on putting out these remasters of games that are literally playable by putting the PS4 disc in your PS5. What the fuck? And like you can get performance boosts from these games on PS5. Like why do you need a full fucking remaster? It's so stupid. Like
This is a waste of tax dollars. That's
Like-
all I have
like-
to say.
like there's
It's a tax write-off. That's what it is.
It really
it
is.
really is.
Shit is stupid.
Meanwhile, no Sly or Ape Escape. Yep. Yeah. But anyway, let's move on. There was a DLC coming up for Stellar Blade revealed that using the Goddess of Victory Nikke game. So they're doing like a collab for that. I mean, it's cool if you like that sort of thing. Stellar Blade, I have heard good things about as a game, but I don't think I would even buy this DLC, even if I do get to play the game. But hey, there you go.
I have to point out before we move on and before I forget, but I just looked at the Wikipedia page out of curiosity. Days Gone, when it originally released in 2019, came out on Landon's birthday, and the PS5 remaster is coming out on my birthday.
That's how it works, baby.
the gift that keeps on giving.
Days Gone.
Yep.
You know, I was given a free copy of Days Gone, a digital
You ne-
code.
You never played it.
I have yet to play it.
Yeah.
It'll probably stay that way for
The game's blueprints and abiotic factor were announced as well. I don't remember these all too well in the state of play when I watched it. I kind of zoned out on these two.
This is unfortunately where I had to stop watching so we could start doing this podcast.
There was a game that was revealed called Tides of Annihilation. It's a Souls-like game, but it's also like the setting is kind of it's kind of hard to explain. It's very it's very fantasy-like, but not like medieval kind of fantasy. It's kind of like it's but it looked pretty good from what I saw. That said, it is a Souls-like game, so even though like the action and like the visuals and stuff looked great, like it's still a kind of game I wouldn't play. So yeah, but I mean, Souls-like games. This was the, Nintendo had their farming sim direct. This was the Souls-like state of play.
That's how it be like every Sony State of Play though.
Sure. Um, there was a game revealed called Metal Eden coming out on May 6th.
I just watched the trailer for this while he's been walking through all this. It actually looks interesting, and as long as it's not focusing a whole lot on like multiplayer and is like a single player first person shooter, I could see myself actually enjoying
Oh, I
this
remember
like
this
I did
game now,
Titanfall
yeah.
2. Yeah.
Yeah,
This one looks interesting. Jack,
yeah.
did you take a chance to look at this one at
It
all?
is supposed to be geared more towards like you
What's
have like a
the?
unit of people that are like working together, but like it's
Do you
it's
got a
called
link
Metal
to the
Eden.
trailer?
There is a link. There's a trailer for it in the link that I posted previously in our private
I'll
Discord.
just look it up.
Uh, there was also a trailer for a game called Mind's Eye that I did not really see a whole lot of this one either. This is, again, I zoned out, right? Like I tuned in a little bit to look at Tides of Annihilation, and I zoned back out for a while. So this was a game I didn't see a whole lot of. I don't. It has driving and combat. I do remember seeing like bits and pieces where like you can get out and you can fire weapons. It feels kind of like from what I saw, it looked kind of like I wouldn't say post-apocalyptic version of GTA, but like it's definitely got that vibe where like you have like a threat that's kind of ravaging the area, but you happen to have like Grand Theft Auto style gameplay in there too. It's weird. Uh, but I mean, yeah, it was sure. And then the last thing that was revealed at this state of play, not GTA 5, get fucked, people. Whoever was
GTA 5 is getting
six.
revealed for the first time
I
in
meant I
2025.
meant GTA 6. God damn it. GTA 6 was not at this state of play at all. Instead, we actually got a reveal for a new game called Soros, which is going to be a first-party Sony title. From
Sony
I
can make
believe
those?
I believe this
What?
I mentioned they mentioned in the in their like they had like somebody on. It sounded like the people from Returnal are doing this game. Uh, and that's going to be coming out next year as well. So if you are a big fan of Returnal, which I heard at the time that that came out was kind of a big game for people that did like that. This is the next project from them. You got Soros, and it looked kind of interesting. But I mean, I didn't. It definitely is a game I'm not personally would play, but yeah, it's something. Once again, no GTA 6, so
Good.
it was really funny. I was watching the stream live and I didn't watch the chat all that much, but I popped it out a couple times and almost every time there was an announcement, there was a bunch of people just putting L, no GTA 6, L. And like they must have been so mad at the end when there was no GTA 6. And honestly, I just think that's funny and that just puts a smile on my face.
That's a good state of play. No GTA 6 mentioned.
Yeah. So as far as state of play goes, I mean, you guys know if you listen to us, we're mostly Nintendo fans. We don't usually get very excited about state of play because usually Sony stuff, whatever they do their state of plays, there's just something to it that just doesn't click. It's not usually exciting, but there was some pretty good stuff here. I mean, there wasn't,
Listen, it's Sony's fault that I'm not more of a fan of them.
yeah. So like that said, I mean, out of the state of plays I've seen of theirs, this is probably a pretty good one. Like, they actually showed real games. There wasn't a whole lot of live service or any live service shit. There was a substantial amount of reveals and confirmations of release dates and stuff, and just showing off like games that people might actually give a shit about. So like, yeah, it's pretty solid 45-minute showing. It did end fairly abruptly. Like as like they showed off Sorrows, they had the guys talk about it, and then it just ended. Like that was just it. Like you didn't have like a you didn't have like a big trailer at the end to like show something off and then like go out with a bang. It was just like this is Sorrows, this is our new game. And
Hmm.
but other than that, it was uh, probably pretty obvious. But I think the game that we talked the most about being Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. That's going to be a big game for us, although probably not necessarily on PlayStation. But thanks PlayStation for showing it off. We appreciate it.
Yeah, it's the question is how much of this can I play on a system
The
I'm
Switch
actually going to
too.
play?
True.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, so Sonic Racing, probably the most like just that's it. Like that was the game I
The guy.
liked the most. Shinobi Art of Vengeance looks phenomenal. I love the art style for that, so I'm excited, especially if it's not a Metroidvania, but if it's a more traditional like platformer, that's good to know. And then the fuck, what was that?
Directive
Haslight.
8020.
Directive 8020 is for sure. And then what was the Haslight game? Cross Worlds.
Split Fiction.
Split Fiction. Yes. I'm Crossworlds was the fucking subtitle for
The Sonic game.
Sonic Racing.
He's still thinking about it.
Yeah, I'm
It's got
still
Sonic
thinking.
on the brain.
That's how you know.
Oh yeah,
on that.
Katie in our chat did mention. I forgot to mention that Sonic Racing will have cross-platform multiplayer. So we don't
thank God.
necessarily have to get it on the same system. So if we want to get
Thank
it on a
God,
different
I can
system,
buy the Switch version, and you guys can do whatever the fuck you want, and I
Yeah.
don't have to buy another online subscription service.
So.
But yeah, Split Fiction looks like I think it'll be fun, and then I'm gonna throw it to Metal Eden. I did actually like the trailer for that, and if it's like just a single player campaign, that could be interesting. It might be 8 years before I get to play it, but interesting.
All right. I think for me personally, obviously Sonic Racing Cross Worlds looked really cool. I'm actually surprisingly interested in WWE 2K25 just because of that the island mode. Like I think it's really cool that like there's going to be like a hub with your created characters. I've been a sucker for those sort of things, so it'll be interesting to see if it's good, if the game is good, and I can not have to spend $70 on it somehow, then I might just be getting a WWE game in current year. So,
You can steal it.
and then there's maybe not to play, but I definitely want to at least watch Landon play through Directive 8020. Like that is, I mean, I've loved watching him play through like all the other. I am now a backseat Dark Pictures game enjoyer.
Hell
To be
yeah.
fair, it's a game you don't have to play yourself to get the game experience.
Exactly. I've never played a Dark Pictures game, and I love all of them.
Yeah, so like I'm excited.
It's like
for
me
that.
and the Great Ace Attorney. I've not played that game, and yet that's like one of my top 20 Switch games of all time.
Yeah.
I mentioned this earlier, but I am intrigued by Dreams of Another. I think it's really weird and wacky based on like how the concept works. So that's going to be cool. And yeah, those are like the big ones for me. I mean, there was other ones that I was like passingly like a like a huh, but like none of the others were like the ones that I mentioned are the games that I at least have an interest in playing. So those are the ones that I'm interested in. So. Jack, for you, what stuck out for you? Did you actually get to watch it at all, or are you just kind of going
No,
through based on the
I
reveals?
did not. I'm
Yeah,
just
you were
like kind
aware,
of
right?
selectively watching trailers as we're talking about them.
Okay, I mean that's fine. That helps you catch up.
I yeah.
Based on what we've talked about, though, anything sticking out for you?
Obviously,
Shinobi.
Days Gone remastered is his highlight.
Yeah.
His raging at the existence of a remaster of Days Gone is a highlight.
It's just a waste,
Yeah.
you know.
But
Yeah, no, I watched the trailer for fuck is it called? I just watched it. The
describe the game.
metal. Oh my god, it's like
Split
Titanfall.
Fiction?
No,
Oh, a Metal
it's
Eden.
Metal Eden.
Metal Eden. Yeah, it looks cool.
Okay.
Yeah, I like. It looks like it could be a decent first person.
It's like it's got wall jumps and wall running and a grappling hook, so it looks like movement is like a big part of the gameplay, which is good. It's good to have that in a first person shooter, in my opinion. Snake Eater getting a remaster is sick. I'll probably end up playing that at some point. Al just posted it in the Discord of the picture of Days Gone remastered with the caption, Sony will remaster everything but Bloodborne.
It's
So that means we're gonna get Knack 2 next time, baby.
it's so
2,
funny.
baby.
They will show off Souls-like games until the cows come home, but they will not remaster one of their biggest games
Well,
from the previous system. That is
Sony didn't. It's not a Sony developed game.
true.
It's a From Software game. So
True,
it's-
but you would
I
think
think it's really up to From Software.
but you know that they could like negotiate. It's not like Sony has no leverage to talk to From Software about doing such a thing. Like this,
Well-
these things don't just exist in a vacuum. Like they could be, they could be like, "Hey, FromSoft, can you remaster that game?" And then like they could like negotiate like all that sort of things. So it's just funny to me that they just will not do that.
They're too busy making
Days Gone remaster.
Elden Ring. Well, no, I was going to say Elden Ring DLC.
Oh, you're talking about FromSoft, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the people who would actually like maybe do some of the work. Well, Bluepoint Studio might also, because didn't Bluepoint Studio work on the Demon's Soul remaster?
Yeah, I was gonna say there was a different team that did the Demon Souls remaster, right?
I think it was Bluepoint.
I'm surprised that they didn't like try to have them do it. Like,
I don't know.
I don't know. I just think it's funny that one of the most defining games of that kind of game from the previous system has still not been remastered, and yet there's all of these games that are like it coming out on this system. Just funny. I don't know. Observations. So that is everything that we were going to talk about here, but did we want to talk about anything new with us? It's been a couple of weeks. We might have some cool new news we might want to drop and just kind of say, just share with the class.
Jack, have you been up to anything recently?
He's looking.
Not really. I don't know if I've mentioned it on stream yet or not. Bethany and I have been playing through Super Mario 3D World together.
I definitely haven't been in a stream where you've said such a thing, so that's pretty cool. How's that going?
I'm forgetting it. I'm remembering just how bad the camera can be in
Yeah.
multiplayer in that game. Like specifically when it comes to which character it wants to track at a given moment. Like, I feel like it's easier to play online multiplayer with 3D World because, like, I don't know if the camera is the same for the 2-player or 2+ players or if it's like different depending on whose perspective it is, but
I don't remember us running into very many camera issues. We played through it online.
I was gonna say,
I was
but
gonna say,
like
if
I don't
I-
know. There have been like some instances where like one of us like falls off the edge and the camera will just like follow the person falling off.
Yeah, so I actually I think I remember. So when it comes to online multiplayer, the camera tends to focus on whatever, your own screen. But it
Yeah.
tries to like divvy up like where the camera focus is when you're playing on co-op, like in-person co-op. And I do remember
Yeah.
I played this game with my ex, and I've also played it with one of my friends when it was back on the Wii U. And there's just aspects of it where like if like somebody's trying to do a certain thing, the camera might like try to back up and capture everything. And there might be other times where the camera tries to focus in too far on one character and it leaves the other one behind, and then they kind of get left behind points. I think it doesn't usually come up too bad. I know one specific level though is those segments where you have to do like the dash panels and you can't stop moving. If you're doing that in on like uh in-person co-op, that can be a fucking pain in the ass because you both have to be doing it and you both have to be controlling it properly, or else the camera is a little weird with that. But yeah, no, I got what you're saying about it.
It's been fun though. It's just sometimes the camera can be frustrating and like who the camera is focusing on is not necessarily the person in the heat of the moment that needs to be focused on.
Have you guys only been
Um,
playing the main 3D World game, or have you guys bounced between Bowser's Fury?
we haven't touched Bowser's Fury. I mean, Bowser's Fury is like a primarily single player game anyway,
It
so
is. There's like a way. There's like a way to do like a multiplayer aspect to it, but yeah, it's largely just like a.
there is,
It's
but
it's
it's
kind of
like
like a
it's the
Mario
equivalent
Galaxy
of
style kind of thing, where like the other
pretty
person has
much, yeah.
minimal control. Yeah,
Yeah.
but anything else?
But it's been fun. I have not been doing much else lately. The seasonal depression has been
Hitting hard.
I I wouldn't say like depression necessarily, but I've just a lack of motivation to do shit lately because of the
Well,
weather.
depression can take different forms. You're not necessarily sad, but it's just kind of like a bummer kind of feeling. Is
Yeah,
not
that's
really.
pretty much how I feel all the time when it's cold out. So,
I got that.
but yeah, not too much else has been going on lately. Generally like January and February are pretty slow months in general. So,
Okay. I don't have too much new on my end either. I believe I said this in a previous, maybe I did. But I've been playing. I got back to Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 on my PC with mods, so I've been playing that quite a bit. I'm still grinding in Dragon Quest 9 on DS because I'm still trying to get all of the stuff that I want to like equip to my characters before I like finish the game up. But I'm pretty much right near the end of the game. I just have like a couple areas to go to, so I'm gonna do it eventually. I'm definitely gonna be finishing it up soon. I think it is funny though that I have definitely paid way more attention to that game than I have Final Fantasy VIII. I have all but not even touched Final Fantasy VIII lately, so that's pretty funny. Um,
Good.
and then the last thing that's interesting is I did get back my tax return money, so I'm saving most of it aside, but I decided to splurge and I ordered myself an analog pocket. So that's going to be coming in a few days. By the time this podcast is out to other platforms, I'll already have had it. So I'll like give my little review in an upcoming episode. I'm excited though. Like I've wanted this thing. It's not something I like just kind of spur the moment thought of like getting. I've been thinking about it since I knew about it, and I finally had the money, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get it. So I'm excited to finally get my hands on it. So I'm looking forward to it.
Lennon, have you gotten the analog pocket that I ordered for you?
No, I'm still waiting though.
Okay, well,
I'm gonna wait patiently.
keep on waiting.
Yeah,
Keep
I'm
on
doing
waiting.
it.
It'll be there soon, buddy.
I know that my good friend Jack would never let me down. Ever.
He would never lie to you about getting such an
and-
important gift for you.
I never would.
Landon, what's new with you?
Cut to the next episode
actually,
where Jack has fucked me in the butt.
One other thing, viewers might have seen like a glimpse of it. It's kind of hard to tell because of how we have our cameras. But I have a second cat now at the moment because
I'm sorry.
some stuff came up. So my girlfriend grabbed the cat that was staying with her mom and brought him here. And Sneezy does not like him. She won't like actively go after him most of the time, but every time he gets kind of close, she hisses, growls. She doesn't want anything to do with him. And she especially does not want him on our bed. Like that bed is her bed. I just sleep in it. And she does not want that other cat on that bed. Like that is her bed. But thankfully, like he's had this room where we do our podcast. He's had this room mostly to himself. So he has, everything he needs. He's a little mischievous. He likes to climb up on stuff. This cat manages to get up on top of things that like I never thought any animal that we could have possibly taken in could get on top of. So like I don't know, this cat is nimble. Uh, he's usually very quiet, but he decided to be very loud earlier because he wanted to get out and he couldn't get out. And he likes to also uh, make loud noises at 4 in the morning. So waking up early in the morning to him has been really great. Other than that, he's nice. He's usually well behaved. He's friendly. He's, just having two cats and one of them really doesn't like the other one has been very interesting to try to keep in check. So, yeah, we'll keep people updated on how that's going. Hopefully, this house doesn't burn down.
That'd be cool.
It would be cool.
Especially if it happened live on Twitch.
Live on Twitch. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Jack, how is Animal Well?
Animal Well was great. Did I not
Yeah.
talk about it on I talked about it on one of the streams the other day, I think.
Yeah, but this is our main flagship show. Who gives a shit about
This is the flagship show?
Yeah.
Okay.
what else would be
listen,
the flagship show?
There are episodes.
The Ace Attorney franchise of streams.
There are VODs of our podcast that are getting dozens of views on YouTube.
Hey, I don't know if you've been looking at the view counts lately, but some of our VODs have been actually getting views in like the 30s and 40s.
Hey,
So
Moving up in the world, folks.
We have, since abandoning YouTube, we have ironically been getting more views on YouTube than ever.
Yeah.
That's how we do it.
Yeah. It was great. The final boss was spooky. It scared me.
I love that.
It was actually fucking terrifying first encountering the final boss.
Speaking of big mode, what is the name of that other game that he's publishing?
Oh shit. Let me pull that up real quick.
Because big mode games it's not Star of Annihilation. Star of
Pro.
It is.
It was under a different name back on Steam, and it's been on Steam for years now, but it has never been able to come out to other platforms. And now that's getting a DLC update. It is also coming to other platforms through Big Mode. So
Star of Providence is what it's called. It's coming out on
most of that.
Coming out on February 20th.
Oh yeah, that's soon. In fact,
that's very soon.
When this comes out on other platforms, that'll already be out. Go get Star of Providence now on your favorite gaming platform.
Unless it's an Xbox, go fuck yourself.
Oh, it's not on Xbox.
I don't think it is.
No
one releases things on Xbox.
True.
It's a dead system. Anyway,
dude, that's sad.
I have recently I beat World of Goo 2. Fantastic. Loved the ending. I'll say it did drag a little in chapters 2 and 3, like the middle of the game. But once you get to chapter 4 and 5 are a lot of fun in that game. So I'm excited for Jack to one day play the game and enjoy it. And let's see, I've been able to play more Professor Layton and the Unwound Future because I got a stylus again for my 3DS and been loving that.
The stylus? Is that a really nice stylus?
I don't have my... Oh, I do.
He's getting his stylus out. Katie mentioned that the Xbox, yeah, it was reported through Take-Two. They like did some number crunching. The Xbox only sold like 2 million units in the entirety of last year in the US. And that is, keep in mind, the Xbox's largest market. So that is kind of funny.
So it's very similar to the
Oh, base
original
3DS
like
one.
3DS. Yeah, but this is for the new 3DS. Like it
Interesting.
works in the new 3DS. So it's the retractable like metallic-ish
Ooh.
style.
Ooh,
But
I want to get one of those. Can you
Yeah.
link me to where did you order that online or did you buy it at like a store?
eBay. It was a 5-pack
Oh, you
that I ordered them in.
if that has a
So
if that's a buy it now listing, you got to link me to that because I want that.
I will.
Oh,
So new 3DS size, nice metallic, retractable. It was like $12 for the 5-pack. So I was like, fuck it.
hell yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm definitely getting that. My 3DS, my new 3DS, the stylus is the original stylus, and like like the little spot that's like it's not thick all the way around. There's like a hollow spot because it's like supposed
Yeah.
to be like a spot where like you can loop something through if you want. Mine broke. Yeah, that
So
little
like
spot,
that spot.
mine broke. So like I have to like it's there. It's just it's snapped out of place. So like you can like you can kind of like move it around. So I'm trying to replace my stylus so that it doesn't just fall out one day and then I never find it. So
That's essentially what happened to me is for the last like 2 or more years, my one stylus for the new 3DS like had that piece missing. Like it was completely gone.
gone.
So I had to be very extra careful about it. And like I don't know when it was. It was like within the last month. I dropped it and I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking bother looking for it. It's somewhere under the desk. It's dead to me.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go order some new ones because I've needed to for like years now. And I'm very happy with this. So yeah, I'll link that to you.
Sweet.
So you can take a look at that. So yeah, that's been like the big thing gaming wise because I have no time because currently there are 2 children screaming their heads off and I got to go take care of that.
All right. So that said,
I have a quick question.
you have a question.
Because I'm going to edit this episode so I'm allowed to take as much fucking time as I want. My biggest thing for the Legend of Heroes games has been I play them on the Sony PlayStation systems for trophies, but I really want to play and get caught up. Should I just play Into Reverie on the Nintendo Switch?
I mean, I would say I think that you should just like say screw it. The trophies aren't as important as actually being able to play through the games. Just start playing what you can on the Switch so you actually have time that you can make to play them. That's what I say. At least the ones that you can play on Switch that have Switch releases, which is most of that.
I mean, the only game I have not played that is not on the Switch is The Legend of Heroes: Trails in the Sky the Third.
Gotcha. So,
And that's unless I want to go buy a PSP and learn Japanese, I can only play on PC. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say is the answer to the question for me.
I've been mulling it over. I might actually, because Daybreak 2 literally comes out in 2 days.
In Japan?
No. In the US.
It just comes out. Oh God. And you are so far behind.
Well, it goes Into Reverie, Daybreak 2. So like I'm a couple games behind.
Yeah, you are so behind because you were all caught up for a little bit, and then they decided to release like 5 games, and then you're like, "Fuck."
Yeah. Well, kind of. I've never actually been caught up because I still have to play Trails in the Sky the Third.
Right.
I know the story that happens in it, so it's not like missing anything. But I love these games and I want to play them all. So I'll play the Switch version of Into Reverie this year. It's so hard to fucking play anything that's not on a portable device right now. Like I say I want to play Metal Eden, and when I said I'll get to it in 8 years, that I don't think that's an exaggeration. unless I'm streaming a game.
Landon, you know what you need? You need the coveted PlayStation Portal. That's our show. Let's roll the outro. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.